Yeah, so it's pretty wild that right up front of the 2010s, Kenneth Brannagh, of all people, dipped his all-class, all-the-time toe back into the Hollywood blockbuster game via two of the most widely derided mainstream popcorn muncher genre formats, both for Disney no less, in the form of a franchise superhero actioner and a splashy classic remake, scored two big hits off both, while yes, also throwing his renewed clout beyond the deeply personal passion project Belfast, also evidently finding the experience of 21st century brand IP big-budget reimagining compelling enough, and he decided to just make one of his own, directing and casting himself as the lead in a newly charged-up take on Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot detective stories, cranking out thus far 3 big, showy, don't make them like that anymore big star productions where the filmmaker, who was never exactly hurting for on-screen ego,
fight for our plot, whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth.
basically stepped up and said, I'm going to take this specific literary character I'm into, make him as cool as friggin' Batman, and I'm going to play him. And the thing is, he did it and pulled it off. These movies are really friggin' cool. They're good looking, they casts, apart from some questionable in hindsight choices, are the right mix of dignified and daffy, the pacing is slick, the updates make sense, and it nails the fact of how fun these kind of what's going to happen next is how is he going to figure it out page-turner thrillers are supposed to be. There's formula to this stuff, damn right there is, and Branagh's affection for the material makes you contagious for, okay, when is he going to lock the doors and tell everyone he's going to interrogate him until he figures it out, as Brannagh clearly is to get to that part.
My name is Hercule Poirot, and I am probably the greatest detective in the world.
Now, having already turned two of the big-name adventures in the series, Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile, into mostly successful films, Nile, of course, having been delayed and then premiered on streaming, which is why this one came out right the hell away, this third outing jumps ahead a bit in time and reorders significantly more the plot and setting and title of a very loose reworking of The Halloween Party, one of the lesser thought-of Christie's stories, which changes things up by matching a once more trying and failing to retire Poirot against the possibility of a supernatural murder conjured forth by psychic interference, which, of course, he does not believe in. The setup for this version, Poirot has been lured out of seclusion in Venice by Tina Fey as Christie's self-parody character, mystery novelist Ariadne Oliver, who wants him to either debunk or fail at the same, a seance being conducted by Michelle Yeoh as a famous medium on Halloween night at a palazzo believed to be inhabited by the ghosts of abandoned orphan children, and more recently and notably, the dead-by-suicide daughter of a wealthy American diva who owns the place. There's a raging storm outside, several other randomly or maybe not known to each other guests inside, one of them winds up dead by gruesome circumstance, which is also quite suspicious, and it's time for Poirot to snap back into his old methods and get to work, except amid the initial chaos, he also manages to sustain some roughing up that's left him shaken and seeing things which may not really be there himself. So can the sharpest mind in detective fiction solve this when he can't even trust his own mind? I mean, yes, of course he can, but it's fun watching him get there anyway. And it's also fun watching the assembled cast of suspects stand up to be literally and figuratively knocked down, though this is a decidedly different beast from the prior two stories, so apart from Faye doing a winking TV miniseries melodrama turn and Yeoh pouring on the mysteriousness and the hey, I'm a global megastar who just won her Oscar, so watch me work show-off part for this one, this time the characters are a low-key coterie instead of the over-the-top archetypes of flaunted wealth and power from before, as befits the gloomy and possibly haunted house setting and the weary immediate post-World War II setting where everyone around is nursing one version or another of trauma, serving as metaphor for the haunting. It's not quite as deep as it sounds because this is that kind of movie, which ends up working in its favor, and though no one is quite as showy as Michelle Pfeiffer in the first movie or Gal Gadot in the second one, I have to assume that fans of Yellowstone will get a kick out of seeing Kelly Riley play a complete 180 from her now iconic TV hard-ass persona as the American Dean. You know, I love the first two, I had a ball with this one. It's a lean but satisfying pour the good scotch opening salvo to the Halloween season itself. You couldn't ask for better proof concept that Brannagh is capable of turning his franchise into a win-making machine. It's another big bullseye. 8 out of 10. I love this franchise. I hope they make a dozen more of these.